So, an 8X H200 GPU rig, I mean, that costs about as much as a decent house, right?
Yeah, easily.
And it consumes enough electricity to power a small neighborhood.
Yeah.
Up until this week, if you wanted to rent that kind of firepower, you were basically just at the mercy of giant tech monopolies.
Right, exactly.
But a few days ago, well, Nodexo quietly flipped a switch and opened the gates to let these absolute behemoths onto their borderless peer-to-peer network. Welcome to this week's deep dive, by the way.
Yeah, glad to be here. And since you, the listener, are already up to speed on the mechanics of how Nodexo and BitTensor actually work, we're just skipping the basics today.
Totally. Our mission today is just pure network updates.
Right, because they just added verified support for a whole new tier of silicon. We're talking about the RTX 5090, the RTX PRO 6000 Blackwell, and the B200.
Oh, wow. So Hopper and Blackwell architectures.
Exactly, but the crazy part is they also enabled multi-GPU rigs now, specifically up to 8x H100 and H200 configurations.
Wait, an 8X rig?
Yeah.
I mean, I sort of look at it like opening up a high-performance track to entirely new classes of supercars. You know, like whether a miner has a solo sports car like the 5090 or a massive 8-engine heavy hauler like that 8X H200 rig, they can just hook it up and put it to work now.
That is a really good analogy, and honestly, it's a huge technical hurdle for them to pull off.
Because of the decentralized part, right? Like, how do you even verify an 8X rig remotely? You can't just plug in more cables and say you have it.
No, you can't. You aren't trusting a central corporate authority to just take your word for it. The network has to continuously verify that those incredibly powerful chips are actually there.
Right.
And that they are perfectly synchronized, too.
Like trying to audit a synchronized rowing team remotely.
Yeah.
You have to prove you don't just have 8 strong people, but that they're actually rowing in perfect unison, pulling the exact weight they claim to be.
Exactly, all without a central boss standing there watching them. They do this through timed cryptographic handshakes. The multi-GPU support means the network is actively scaling to handle frontier, enterprise-grade machine learning workloads. You know, you don't hook up an 8X200 rig unless you're doing some really, really heavy lifting.
Yeah, which brings us to the live network numbers, right? Because opening the doors to this heavy-duty hardware naturally leads to immediate expansion. I saw the current count of the fleet just hit 66 verified GPUs online.
Yeah, and it's climbing, spanning 6 different GPU classes across 6 different countries.
Okay, but wait, I do have to push back a little here.
Sure.
66 GPUs. I mean, I know we're talking about high-end hardware, but to someone used to hearing about AWS or Azure with hundreds of thousands of GPUs, 66 sounds like, well, a rounding error. Is that really a robust footprint?
Well, it sounds tiny if you compare it to a cloud giant's marketing brochure, sure. But remember, a dashboard number on a traditional cloud provider is ultimately just a promise.
Right, like a promise that the compute will actually be there when you click spin up.
Exactly. On Nodexo, those 66 aren't just claimed GPUs. Because of those timed cryptographic challenges we just talked about, they are completely demonstrable.
So you can't just spoof it with a heavy-duty CPU or route the challenge to some remote server farm.
No, you can't fake the hardware identity. Every single one of those 66 cards is continuously audited. So that 66 is a cryptographically proven floor.
And they're rentable with just one command.
Right. So on this network, quality and verifiable proof just completely Trump-inflated, unverified numbers.
That makes a lot of sense. So to summarize, the Nodexo fleet is getting much heavier firepower and steadily expanding its verified global footprint.
Yeah, going from solo 5090s up to massive H200 rigs, all completely frictionless.
Which leads to a really wild thought, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you think about Jevons paradox.
Yeah.
You know, the idea that when a resource becomes incredibly accessible and efficient, we don't just use the same amount of it more cheaply, we actually end up consuming way more of it overall.
Oh, right. Yeah, it's the big unknown right now.
So as this peer-to-peer network makes access to these massive multi-GPU rigs entirely borderless and frictionless, it makes you wonder.
Will it just shift demand away from centralized cloud providers, or will this newfound efficiency actually cause the total global demand for AI compute to absolutely skyrocket?
Exactly. That is a provocative little concept for you to mull over this week as you watch those network numbers climb. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, and we'll catch you on the next one.